Hey, we are rolling. So I hope the audio is all right this time. I'm recording in a new room. As you can see, if you've watched in the past, a few weeks ago, I moved into this new apartment. So we got. I'm kind of learning the audio space as it is here. I have an overhead fan here that I did not have in my previous apartment, and it has been hot and fucking humid as I can't even I can't find the words to describe what it gets like here in the summer. The heat index is up over 100, and it's like so. North Jersey is basically the coastal area of New Jersey is just a big fucking swamp, and North Jersey is a swamp that we built on top of. So we still get very, very swamp like heat and humidity here during the summer. So the heat index is up over 100. It's humid as fuck outside. Like you go outside and you're just wet in minutes. So I have like every fucking fan and the AC and shit running, and that's been going on for about probably like a week and a half or so now. So I had the overhead fan going last week when I recorded, and apparently that was causing some problems with the audio. So I apologize. I think that's what it was. I'm also in a much narrower room here, and it's hard walls and stuff. So I don't know if there was a little bit of an effect there. So we'll see. It might be a little touch and go with the audio as we go along here. This is a pre-record, by the way, in case I forget to mention it up on YouTube when I post. I have to cover a class tonight, and I can't guarantee that I will be back by 8 p.m. So this taking an hour during the day to cut this, and I can't really. There's no good way to check the audio while I'm recording it, so I just kind of have to, on faith, assume that it's okay. If I'm doing it live, I can check because I can just tune into the stream and see what's going on. So hopefully it's not a problem. I have a tower fan running over there, so if I need to, you may see me just lean back and kind of cool myself off a tad. I do have this refreshing beverage here. It's water, lime juice, and salt. Great electrolyte combo. I'm a big electrolyte guy these days. Trained for a marathon, son. Got to stay hydrated. I did 7.5 miles out in the fucking heat and humidity yesterday. Felt like a fucking man. And then I went to teach 2 classes, and I was absolutely fucking cooked. Anyway, so I'm hoping to be live in the next couple weeks, because I know it's been a bunch of pre-records and weeks off, and I know that you do like to mingle in the comments section, and I like to be there. So I'll do what I can. In the meantime, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, and YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams. The best way to reach me, honestly, if you're trying to get me, is to just comment on a YouTube video. That's I don't spend a whole lot of time. I haven't done anything on Twitter in, I don't know if I've tweeted anything in over a year. I'll check in on my DMs there once in a while. I haven't been into my Instagram DMs in a very long time. So if you sent me something there, I'm not ignoring you. It's just I haven't been doing anything on that app. Like I haven't been engaging with it. And that's that. I'll get back in there at some point. Some point when I have a couple days off to just do nothing, I'll hop into the Instagram DMs and finally get back to some people. Anyway, it's summertime, and I guess I've noticed this before, but I noticed it more and more now. The hustlers in Times Square, because it's the peak tourist season, have been out in force lately. There's the ones everyone kind of knows about in Times Square. The CD guys, I guess, are the most well known. I haven't seen the Desnudas in a while, which is very, very upsetting. They are my favorites. It's just these South American women with big fat asses who fucking walk around Times Square in G-strings and body paint. It's incredible. It's like the greatest thing in the world. If you're a guy who loves, and most of them have very big natural tits too. It is outstanding. I assume all of the money goes back to some kind of cartel or something like that they make, because they take pictures with tourists, and then they charge them like $20. It's just them ripping off the every horny dumbass from flyover country with the Pat Mahomes haircut. He's drinking a Celsius and smoking a fucking a pre-roll in Times Square. Also pays $20 for one of these chicks to take a picture with him. And then the CD guys. They actually had to post warnings to tourists that they're not required to buy a CD from anyone, because these guys, it's hilarious. They go up to like dorky looking white dudes from the Midwest, and they shake, or like Europe or whatever, and like they shake their hand, they dap them up, and they ask them if they like rap music, and they're afraid to say no, so they just say yes, of course. And then the guy explains that he's an up and coming hip hop artist, and that he's selling his demo tape, and he'll like, hey, what's your name? And he'll autograph it like to Bob or whatever, and hand it to the guy and be like, that's $10. And like, these people will just fork over money because they don't want to seem racist and be like, hey, fuck off. It's like the biggest, oldest New York City scam. There are a couple other ones where a person will be walking down the street with they'll get a bottle of an empty bottle of an expensive wine, and they'll fill it with like fucking grape juice, and they'll bump into you and drop it, and they'll blame you for breaking it. That's a big one. They do that with old phones too. I had some bitch try to do that to me once. I was walking down it was like Hudson Street. It's back when I worked at 1010 Winds, and this woman literally diverted her path to walk directly into me, and then started screaming, he smashed my phone. I did not stop to engage for a second. I just kept fucking walking, and she kept screaming at me that she was going to call the police. I just literally kept going and strolled on into work like nothing had happened. So the CD guys have been out in force this week, but another kind of guy that I'm fascinated by is there's when you walk into the Port Authority, there's a big screen that shows you like what bus is leaving at what time from what gate, and then there's the NJ Transit ticket machines right there, and there is an information booth not 10 feet inside the door where you can get, if you are having trouble interpreting any of the information here or are unable to use the NJ Transit ticket machine, which is incredibly simple and straightforward to use, you can go right in and find out about all of that. But there are these guys who will just hang out in there, and they as soon as someone goes up, I refuse to buy my monthly bus pass from these kiosks anymore, because you can't get to the kiosk without a guy coming over and attempting to assist you. And like, even if you ignore him, because my move is always to never engage with these guys. Even if you ignore him, he will continue to talk you through the process while you're doing it, even though it's clear that you know what you're doing. So he can try to juice you for a couple bucks afterwards. And then they'll hold doors and stuff. And you will see these fucking, these tourists they'll do it. And then they'll fork over cash to these guys. It's hilarious. I remember when we were learning about Ellis Island in grade school, and they would talk about how when the boats would come in, people would get off the ferry from Ellis Island. They clear immigration, and now they're coming into New York City or Jersey City or Hoboken or wherever. These guys would be there to kind of like hustle them, to try to set them up with, see if they had any money, try to set them up with rooms rented at exorbitant rates, or like fucking con them out of their possession. There was a lot of trickery going on in the late 1800s through the early 1900s. There were just con men were running fucking wild because you couldn't verify shit back then. So these guys, and especially if you didn't know the language, you just kind of had to show up and like, unless you had relatives there, you kind of just had to feel out the situation. Get to a neighborhood where there are more of your ilk, ask a few questions, and go from there. Like it's not like now where they they bus you to New York City and they've cleared out a few hotels for you. No, none of that. They didn't give you a prepaid debit card back then. There was just some German Irish guy, some Dutch guy whose family had been in the country for 100 years already, who knew all the ins and outs, and he was ready to take your ass for everything you fucking had. A lot of gangs of New York is like, if you look at the scene, the scene where they're down there, like at the docks as the Irish are coming in off the boats, like giving them soup so that they'll vote for Tammany Hall, and then like just fucking escorting them away and getting them to. I think a big one back then was getting them to take if you were a person of wealth, you'd get them to take your place on the draft rolls if you didn't want to fight in the Civil War. If you were a rich liberal back then, or I guess technically the liberal, like the Democrats were in the South. If you were today's version of a rich lib who wanted someone else to go fight a war for you, that's how you would do it. You would pay an Irish immigrant a very low sum of money, and he would take your place on the draft roll. But that's this version of that. I really would love to give like tours of the like fucking scumbag tours of Times Square and just point out all of the things that are going on around you when you come in from out of town and you're looking at just the M&M store where someone was stabbed over a pair of socks, by the way, with the Dave and Buster's where someone was stabbed to death over a prize at the ticket exchange, or any of other places where people have been stabbed over minor disagreements. That would be a lot of fun to me. I would love to put that together one day. I feel like people get very upset. People get very upset about that, but I think it would be a fun little side hustle. Maybe I will do that. I got to figure that out, because there are people who do tours. Like they have the ghost tour. They have the mafia tour. I bet you could give a sort of scumbag, a guide to scumbag New York City. I wonder if there's something there. I'm an entrepreneur. I'll figure it out. Also in the Port Authority, which was just a kind of interesting thing to overhear, this a black woman, she's about 52 years old, and she was dressed like, summery, sundress. She kind of like, heels on, her hair was done. Definitely not an unattractive woman for her age. If you were into older, I guess if you were into slightly older black chicks, you would be into this chick. Like she had it together. She looked like a woman going somewhere. Looked like she was going to, the way a chick would dress for like brunch or like a little cocktail party or something like that. It was a Thursday afternoon, so she might have had something summery to go to. And she's on the phone talking to whoever about how everywhere she goes, guys keep hitting her. She mentioned that she caught her ex looking at trans porn. Like, she didn't even like go into deep detail about it. Like, fucking, like, she there was some dispute with him, and she was like, listen, I guess she told him, listen, like, I saw your browser history, like, you better not be a fucking asshole to me. And she told her friend that this guy was fucking looking at you know crossing the final. Is that what comic book guy from The Simpsons called the? No, that wasn't trans porn. That was I think that was just Mr. X. I think that was just gay porn. Or not. It was Homer Simpson's website, but it wasn't actually gay porn. He thought it was. But yeah, it was. I guess she had caught her ex looking at ladyboy porn, and then she's like, she starts telling her friend that all these guys have been hitting on her all day, and I'm like, yeah, like whatever, like it's a bit braggadocious, just being cocky. And then literally, because there's a long wait for the bus, I was reading a book. I'm reading Michael Lombardi's Gridiron Genius. By the way, it's a very good read if you're into the sort of the nerdier aspects of the sport of football. Like, you're interested in how a program is put together and how draft picks are selected and such. It's a very, very worthwhile read. But I had to like pause because after she says this, guys keep coming up to her and just asking her for her phone number. Like, out of nowhere, some guy, he looked like a bus driver, he's an NJ Transit employee, just comes over, interrupts her phone call to introduce himself and asks for her number because he wants to call her. And she kind of, she's polite, but she kind of shoos him away. I'm like, well, that's coincidence. 2 minutes after that, some guy in a he was wearing. It's very odd when I've talked about this before. People who wear it's a hot summer day and people will be wearing like black jeans and a black t-shirt, and it just looks completely uncomfortable. This guy was wearing like a full maroon tracksuit, and I think my first thought was just like, you can't be comfortable in there. But he was a younger guy. He was we found out through the course of this conversation that she was 20. He was 25. But he asked for it. He said she had a great aura about her, and that he was very attracted to her. And he asked for her phone number. And she asked how old he was. So he's like, I'm 25. She's like, look, honey, I'm 52. I'm way too old for you. Like, you don't know me, like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, but like, I fuck with women your age. He wasn't the most eloquent guy. He was definitely not scoring any style points, linguistic abilities. But he's like, I fuck with women your age. I connect with them mentally. And she's just like, go home, young man. And I was amazed. Like, she actually, I guess, I mean, if it happened twice right there, I have to imagine she was getting hit on elsewhere as well. And even the bus driver was, when she got on, was kind of chatting her up a little bit. And I mean, again, not an unattractive woman, but it's New York City. You see considerably hotter chicks than this every day. There was nothing about her other than, like I said, like, she was, attractive. She was everything was very well put together. But she wasn't like over the top, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't a rocket, but like 3 different guys in a span of minutes. So I guess what you're saying is, if you got a girl out there, she's got dudes just throwing their fucking dicks at her 24/7. I hope you're all secure in your relationships, because there is a good chance that your lady is just out there having penises fucking thrown at her. It does give you a very like empathetic look at what it must be like to be a woman of even above average attractiveness. Uh, how many guys are just aggressively and like awkwardly inappropriately trying to fuck you all day. It just fascinating stuff. Um, maybe I'll make that part of the tour as well. How we doing on time here? 20 minutes, not bad. This they fucking got this Hamas guy, huh? Israel will, if you piss off Israel, they will fuck you up. Where should I put this? I'm worried about it falling. I don't want to break glass. Also, that Seinfeld episode, deep in the shag. Um, yeah, Hamas honcho Ismail Hania blown up. They blew him up with a bomb that was smuggled into his Tehran guest house months ago. If you are the leader of Hamas and you can't trust that a bomb will be snuck into your home, where the place you stay in Tehran, and be there for months undetected, no one is safe from who is it? Did it, the Mossad? Was it them? Are they the ones who did? I guess would have done this. Like, you remember after what's that? What was that movie Munich? Um, about the Olympics, where the name of the group, I think it was like Black September or something like that, killed all the Israeli athletes, and they tracked those motherfuckers down. And what's his name? I have the book somewhere here on the shelf. Eichmann. They got his ass in South America. I think he was in, it was like Brazil or something like that. Like they got him. They got him when he was getting off the bus after work in South America, like 20 years after the war was over. Like, Israel does not fuck around. They really do. They handle things the way you would expect someone to handle a situation if people had been trying to exterminate them for for centuries. They do not. If they think you are a threat, they will just snuff your ass out. He was initially believed to have been killed in an airstrike, but it was a remotely detonated bomb inside the guest house. And that's from 7 Middle Eastern officials, two Iranians, and an American. Although it was first reported by the failing New York Times, so who knows? They got it in there 2 months in advance, and it was remotely detonated around 2 a.m. Jesus, that sucks. Although I guess if you think about it, you're out like a light and you just get blown to shreds. You don't even know. You have no idea what fucking happened. The explosion was so targeted that the room where the leader of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Ziad al-Nakahala, next door, sustained little damage. I mean, would have been nice if you had gotten them both, huh? The officials liken the attack's precision. This is from the New York Post, by the way, to the killing of Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhriz. I don't. That's tough. He was assassinated using a remote-controlled machine gun. Like I said, they will get you. Although the idea of a I don't know if I want the remote-controlled machine gun to exist. Like, all of these things that, like, the Mossad and special forces and stuff have now eventually do trickle down to, like, the rest of the world. And having a remote-controlled machine gun out there seems like it could be a bit much. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a thing that... I mean, I guess anyone could remote control their machine gun. Like, it seems like you wonder when a mass shooting will be conducted by just a machine gun on top of a fucking a remote controlled car. It'll happen eventually, or like a drone or something like that. Like a civilian will figure out how to commit mass murder with that kind of thing. The explosion also killed a bodyguard. The guest house he was staying at is run and protected by Islamic Revolutionary Guard. And they got it in there. How the fuck did they get it in there? I mean, that is incredible. In any case, people, it remains unclear how the bomb made its way into the guest house. The house was part of the compound reserved for retreats, secret meetings, and housing prominent guests. Like, that is a massive security failure on the Iranian part. I mean, that is, and you hate to see it. I mean, these motherfuckers are like literally every problem that's gone on in Iraq has an Iranian hand in it. Like everything everywhere has an Iranian hand in it. Like they are sneaky. So when they get got like this, pretty good. Tehran and Hamas have blamed Israel for the assassination. The Jewish state has remained silent on the matter, which is typically the case when it operates in Iranian soil. Israel has been accused of carrying out several assassinations in Iran through the decades, including that of Masoud al-Mohammadi, another nuclear scientist who was blown up by a remotely detonated bomb hooked up to a motorcycle outside of his apartment in 2010. Majid Shariari, related to the head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni. Another, that wasn't funny. Another nuclear scientist from the University of Tehran was killed in a similar fashion just 10 months later. Israel does not fuck around. I don't want to get too into I don't want to make this a fucking every week we talk about the Kamala Harris nomination. But there was this I guess it was a white women for Kamala thing. I'm going to share the let me give this a share. Present. 1 second. So this chick has been going kind of viral lately. At this white women for Kamala event, where it was just a bunch of fucking white chicks fucking simping for Kamala Harris, which the Trump. That fucking Trump with the black broadcasters thing, it was one of the funniest videos I've ever seen of him just insisting Kamala Harris isn't black. And like, I think more people knew what he was saying than he's being given credit for, because it's just such an easy thing to mock. and I truly don't know how this election is going. Like, because the media is so in the bag for Kamala and pop culture is so in the bag for Kamala that you're like, oh, it feels like that they'll probably win. But it was like that with Hillary too. Um, every late night show was about how much Trump sucks and how much he was going to lose. And they were planning all of those victory parties, and people were they were crying afterwards. So it's so hard to tell if this is that again or if it's not. Like Trump going off about that. Like, I remember when Trump would go off about the border and say things about immigration, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's nuts!" Like I've never heard a candidate talk about this guy's fucking crazy. But then you're like, "Oh yeah, he wasn't talking to fucking liberal arts college graduates from the New York City area. He was talking to blue collar workers who were like legitimately concerned about border policies affecting their ability to feed their families." Once you realize that that is sort of his game, the things he says take on a very different context. So, the whole, they're not bringing their best. They're not bringing their best. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing rapists, murder. That speaks to people. He's very popular on Long Island, where there's a huge problem with MS-13. Like fucking. So I think sometimes the media likes to do its thing where they treat him like he's a fucking maniac, and I think he's a little bit more calculating than people give him credit for, at times at least. But this white broads for Kamala thing, this Ariel Fodor chick is we are trying to move past what this chick is the best way for me to say it. Like, we need to be done with this. So what she said, she's a TikToker who calls herself Miss Frazzled on TikTok. And I don't even know what the fuck that means. Perhaps there's some background on it. She's a kindergarten teacher. Oh no, this is not. Oh, this is someone else. Oh no, this is her. She's a TikTok. She's a kindergarten teacher. Oh, this is great. She's quoted in a CNN article. Before I get to what she did during this thing, she's quoted in a CNN article titled "Want to finally say something back at the holiday dinner? Try talking like a teacher." And it says, "What if we talk to difficult people at our holiday gatherings this year the way we talk to kindergartners? No, thank you, Aunt Tracy. At dinner, we mind our own plate," said Ariel Fodor in her TikTok video on her account, Miss Frazzled. "It is never okay to make comments on someone's appearance or what they're eating." So she uses what she learned as a kindergarten teacher in Los Angeles, and what she learned with that background in child development, how that can be applied in the realm of adults, whether it's at a presidential debate in which candidates need to learn that they must speak one at a time, or a family dinner where someone is upset over different pronouns. over different pronouns. So her entire shtick is being incredibly annoying, and we've looked at her face quite enough. I'll see if I can follow. We want to check in on one of her videos, maybe. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Let's see. She's on Instagram, too. A little more user-friendly. Let's see. She is very infuriating looking. Like, she has a very and this is probably why she's had to deal with so many relatives commenting about her appearance is that she has a very infuriating appearance. So here she explains how to gentle parent relative. Let me see if I can go ahead and I'll present this, is what it says. Present them to me.
You to know about your gas stove. Do you see how it says natural gas? They just want to put a little warning sticker on your stove so that you know that it actually means methane gas. Yeah, the one making the world warmer. Yes, that is really happening. Can you catch a bubble, please? California has used stickers to warn people about chemicals for a long, long time, and the stickers are nothing to be afraid of. I promise. They just want people to know about the health impact.
Can you fucking imagine? I can't continue to fucking listen to that. Can you imagine? Because she appears to be married. I guess she's got kids. Can you imagine procreating with that woman? You would want you would want to hurt yourself. You would want to hurt you. You would want to fill a bathtub with warm water and get inside and open up your wrists with a razor blade like Frank Pantangeli. Holy shit, she is terrible. So she was on this White Women for Kamala call, and she has instructed if you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid correcting them, just take a beat, and instead we can put our listening ears on. She say anything else? No, that's what she said. I mean, she is just awful. And she is indicative of a certain type of white chick in this country who does want to take over and make, they're the kind of chicks who are leading the mask and vax brigades during the lockdown. I can't say for sure how old she is, but she seems like she's one of those somewhat younger millennials who was in college during 2012 through 2016 or so, where like microaggressions and trigger warnings were sort of a big thing. She is just a doppelganger of a certain type of human being, like the Pussycat Hat March, right? The type of finger wagging, upper middle class Caucasian scold that nobody likes. And frankly, as detestable as her and her ilk are, you kind of want to see them front and center so that they can just be their own undoing. I think we've gotten to a weird point here where we've become so numb to all of this shit. Like a Los Angeles kindergarten teacher is like, that is probably, that is up there with like the highest level of woke white apologist pain in the ass that you can get. Like it's fucking, it's bad. I don't know, like that is, you know how in Scientology they have the different levels, and it's like, Danny Masterson down here who, he couldn't use all of the Scientology in the world to get himself cleared of his shenanigans. And then, we have Tom Cruise and John Travolta at the top, and they could, if they wanted to, they could probably fucking kill somebody and it would get just, swept under the rug. Where is David Mescovich's wife? This chick is like a Tom Cruise level. Like if you are a TikTok influencer who makes videos about how to speak to family members in a condescending manner at the holidays, and you work as a public educator in Los Angeles, you're like the Al Zawahiri of fucking woke douchebags. Like that's how high up you are. These are not the people that we want to listen to. We don't want them calling the shots. So I really think make them front and center again. That might be the strategy. As much as people want to, and it's such a hard thing because, JD Vance does come off as a fucking weirdo. Let's not, and he hasn't fucked a couch, but he was a Marine and he deployed to Iraq. So he has definitely jerked off in some weird places. That's what you do when you're in Iraq. I mean, you haven't been fucking uncomfortable until you've been sitting in a porta shitter that's lined, it's connected to other puts, a big trailer full of porta shitters, sitting in there with a fucking Hustler magazine in your hand, waiting for the sound of shitting in the other porta shitters next to you to die down so you can comfortably jerk one out on a fucking 95-degree day in April in the fucking desert. So JD Vance has definitely jerked off in some weird places. Whether he's fucked, I mean, fucking a couch, fucking a Ziploc bag, a lubed up Ziploc bag between a couple of couch cushions wouldn't even be the weirdest thing anyone has ever done sexually in the political sphere or anywhere. I mean, that you almost want to own that. Like, I know it sounds like he didn't. It wasn't in the book. It doesn't mean we can disconfirm whether he did it or not. But I would take a couch fucker before the couch fucker I can at least relate to on some level. These lunatics are these are the kind of chicks when they bring a great example for. I was surrounded by chicks like this last night. They bring their kids to a fucking a bar. There's a bar that I go to once in a while in the summer. They have this great outdoor area where they have a big it's like a big camp trailer that they one of those Jetstream trailers, like a vintage one that they serve drinks out of, and like picnic tables and shit, like real white people shit, Edison bulbs hanging over the fucking thing, like really no better sign that a neighborhood has been gentrified than one of these exists there. And it's right around the corner from the gym that I train at. So Thursday nights, when it's nice out, I pop in there and sit outside and enjoy a nice drink, hit the vape pen, and fucking chill out. I get there last night, and I don't know if it was some event that someone was having, because they had brought trays of food that were taking up one of the tables, and then they were all mobbed. All of them, they're all fucking idiots. These people have no sort of social awareness whatsoever. Their heads are so far up their own asses. They're all wine drunk all the time and in the bag on fucking edibles and antidepressants, or fucking cranked up on, Adderall. They're ignoring their kids. They have their kids there. There are dozens of them. It was, like I said, they're just shitloads. I think it was probably like after a rehearsal dinner or something like that, because there's a church next door, and it's wedding season, and it's Thursday night, so you figure if there's a Friday night wedding at the church, the rehearsal would be today. Whatever it was, these people had their annoying little shits. I think kids are great. Like, my nieces and nephews fucking rule. I love hanging out with them. But having a dozen kids running around in an adult space when there are already, this is usually a place that's pretty, like, it's chill. It's a quiet place. Like, they play very down tempo music, and it's like a place where you just kind of go and you can relax, get in your own head, have like a chill conversation, have a snack, have a fucking drink. Like, it's very much, that's the vibe. The vibe is relax. And there are just a dozen or so 4-year-olds sprinting. There's a park with playgrounds a half a block away. If you were really interested in engaging with your kids, you would take them to the fucking playground. You wouldn't have them sprinting around while you're getting drunk with your friends and because there were still people there that were trying to kind of hang out and enjoy the bar. But they are of that ilk. Like, there were definitely a shitload of Kamala votes in that patio space last night. They are the kind of people who bring their fucking kids to places like that. The point being, don't bring your fucking kids to a fucking bar. Your kids don't belong in a bar. There are very few exceptions. If it's a vacation locale and it's a daytime situation and it's a place with like a fun menu and stuff like that, kids menu, and there are places where it's clear that kids are sort of a part of the vibe. It's right. It's got a pool table and a ping-pong machine, whatever. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. It's that they have mozzarella sticks and chicken fingers on the kids menu. That we get it. Yeah, bring your kid in. All right. If it's a fucking cocktail bar with relaxing music and fucking Adirondack chairs on a Thursday night, leave your little fucking rugrats at home. No one is into your kid the way you're into your kid. Because if you think, like, most adults, or a good chunk of society, consists of fucking, assholes and sort of stupid people and sort of just useless undesirables. And so that means that a heavy chunk of kids are going to grow up into that. So I don't want them around me when they're young, and because they engage in the same entitled, stupid behavior that those adults will eventually engage in. Like, I've been on the beach last weekend, and I'm not going to get into. Let's just say New Jersey is a multicultural state, and there is a certain type of large family from I don't where on the map would it be? I guess it's not Southeast Asia. It's what you would call about the very southern tip of Asia. that inhabits New Jersey in great numbers, and they're not very good with personal space. So I usually get to the beach late afternoon, sort of when it's starting to almost clear out a little bit. So they're usually like nice chunks of real estate on the beach that you can get. And I will always go to the most wide open spot. I don't like planting my shit near someone on the beach. Like, I like to fucking chill. Um, they fucking, they will come and they will plant their stuff within 3 feet of you. I go down, I swim in the fucking ocean, I get up, and there is a family practically surrounding me in this vast expanse of sand where we could have had a good 10 yards of standoff between us, and they still would have had space between them and the next group. And they just chose to get right on top of me and speak in their very, again, I don't want to get into specifics here, but very shrill voices, and like almost surrounding my chair, just like standing over me, having their kids are picking up shells underneath the chair, and like you don't say anything because it's like I'm very big on not being an asshole, so I just kind of you chill. Eventually they're gonna go down by the water and kind of get out of your hair, but it's there are just for some reason there are a lot of people on this planet with very sort of poor social intelligence, and people who bring their kids to bars are like that. And this sort of Caucasian is out there, and they live heavily in gentrified neighborhood. They've done the gentrifying, and now they feel very guilty about it, or at least they say that they do outwardly, because they think it scores them points of a certain kind. The rest of them have moved to the suburbs, where they also feel guilty because they live in these homogenous areas with no diversity or anything like that. The crime statistics are way fucking down, but I think they just get bored. They don't seem to have a whole lot going on, so they make trouble for other people. Is probably the best way to describe it. But anyway, they are not the variety of person that we want calling the fucking shots. These millennial Karen chicks. I have been around these chicks. I grew up. They are in my generation. I've been around. They are part of that. They loved Girls on HBO. Remember that Lean In campaign? Remember that, where they were told to lean in, whatever the fuck that meant. Like, lean into corporate spaces. Speak. You couldn't go to a fucking meeting. You couldn't go to a staff meeting for whatever you were doing without every fucking chick having to contribute unnecessarily because they were told to lean in and take over predominantly male spaces. They were told that this is a very important thing, that they lean in. And everyone just wants to get out of the fucking meeting. You want to go. If it's the afternoon, maybe there's a happy hour, or you want to hit the gym, or you want to go home and get your dick sucked. If it's the morning, it's the last thing that's standing in between you and hitting the food truck or going outside to smoke a pre-roll or take a fucking walk. Or if it was me, just go sit on a fucking bench and stare off into the distance, regretting all of my life decisions. And these fucking chicks, they had to lean in and fucking contribute to the meeting. And now the meeting's got to go on for another 45 minutes because the fucking guy running the meeting has been presented with a new rabbit hole to go down because some fucking dumbass from fucking marketing had to fucking get her 2 fucking cents in so that she can then talk about the meeting later on and what she pointed out to everyone at the meeting. That is big for her. Is later when they're at the fucking food truck or whatever, and she's scarfing down sliders and talking about the importance of her body image. She can talk about the brilliant comment that she made during the fucking meeting, and she can post it after you crush it. a little picture of the food, and then like herself devouring a fucking it's some sort of Thai fucking barbecue fusion slider burger out on the fucking out on at a sitting on a patio ledge on 47th Street, posted to her fucking Instagram stories, rewarding yourself after crushing it at the morning meeting. Hashtag lean in or some bullshit like that. She gets all the likes and the fucking you go girls, and yeah, that's what we're setting ourselves up for, folks. That's what they want. That's what they want. Yeah. Get ready for it. They are just gonna shove it up our fucking asses. That is what they're gonna give us. That is who it's gonna be. Remember that fucking annoying chick from your high school class who organized the pep rally and the fucking whatever else, the homecoming float? She is now searching for meaning, and she busts her fucking husband's balls all day about whatever product they're not allowed to buy or TV shows they're not allowed to watch because if this company is problematic and this actor said something and whatever the fuck, and their kid doesn't, the kid doesn't play football because it's a toxic male sport. He plays soccer because it's international and all sorts of other bullshit. They're the ones, baby. Buckle up. We dodged the Hillary bullet. Eventually they're going to hit. Eventually they're going to do it. And now, of course, it's a back and forth thing. And eventually, the straight white males will take it back. But yeah, it is dark times, baby. Dark times. Anyway, I do have to grocery shop, and then I have to get to the gym to teach this class. So, without any further ado, well, I guess we just did. I don't want to call it all adieu, but I will bid you adieu. I hope the audio worked out this time around. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, MOYLER. What else? YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams. Check it all out. And I will catch you guys later. Adios, motherfuckers.